He only had $3 left in his pocket, and this cup of coffee was going to decide whether he stayed in the city or disappeared from it forever. Rain poured steadily over Manhattan, turning the streets into rivers of reflected lights. Inside a small corner cafe called Maple Street Coffee, the world felt warmer. Soft jazz played in the background. The smell of fresh espresso filled the air. People typed on laptops, couples whispered over cappuccinos, and baristas moved quickly behind the counter. Behind that counter stood Sarah Williams, 26 years old, calm eyes, steady hands, and a quiet strength that most people noticed but could not describe. She had been working at Maple Street Coffee for 3 years. She knew the regular customers by name, their favorite drinks, and sometimes even their stories. But that evening, someone walked in who was not a regular. The bell above the door rang softly. A man stepped inside, shaking rain from his worn jacket. He looked to be in his late 40s. His beard was slightly untrimmed. His boots were old but polished. On his jacket, just above his heart, was a small American flag pin and a faded military patch. Sarah noticed the patch immediately. The man paused near the entrance, as if deciding whether he belonged there. Then he slowly walked to the counter. "1 black coffee," he said quietly. "Small size." His voice carried the weight of someone who had learned not to ask for much. Sarah nodded gently. "That will be $3. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a few coins and crumpled bills. He counted carefully. $3 exactly. Nothing more. As Sarah prepared the coffee, she watched him from the corner of her eye. He chose a table near the window. He sat straight, almost formally, as if still following military discipline. But his eyes were distant. There was something about him that felt like a storm that had not yet broken. When Sarah brought the coffee to his table, she placed it down softly. "Here you go." He looked up. "Thank you." She hesitated. Then she asked gently, "Are you visiting the city?" He gave a small smile, trying to survive it. She did not press further. Instead, she returned to the counter. Her manager, Mr. Thompson, an older man with silver hair and kind eyes, leaned closer. "You noticed the patch too," he said quietly. "Yes," Sarah replied. "Veteran." Mr. Thompson nodded. "Every Friday, we keep one open tab for someone who served. Your idea, remember?" Sarah looked toward the man again. "He already paid." Mr. Thompson smiled. "Then refund him." Sarah hesitated. "What if he refuses?" "Then do what kindness always does," Mr. Thompson said softly. "Give anyway." Sarah walked back to the table holding $3 in her hand. "Excuse me," she said gently. "Your coffee has already been paid for." The man looked confused. "I just paid." "Yes," Sarah said, "but every Friday, someone in this cafe covers 1 drink for a veteran. Tonight, it is you." Silence filled the space between them. The man stared at the money in her hand as if it were something fragile. "Why?" he asked. "Because someone once did it for my father," Sarah replied. His expression changed, not dramatic, just softer. "My name is Daniel," he said after a moment. "Sarah." Daniel held the warm cup in both hands. "I was not sure I would stay in New York after tonight." Sarah pulled out a chair across from him. The cafe was not too busy anymore. "What do you mean?" Daniel looked out at the rain. "I moved here 6 months ago. After leaving the army, I thought finding work would be easy. It was not. Interviews, promises, nothing stable. Today I had my last interview. They said they would call. They did not." Sarah listened carefully. She did not interrupt. "I have just enough money for a bus ticket back home tomorrow," Daniel continued. "I came here to drink one last cup of coffee in the city before leaving." The weight of his words settled deeply. "And now?" Sarah asked. Daniel looked at the $3 still in his hand. Now I feel like maybe the city is not completely done with me. At that moment, Mr. Thompson approached their table. "Sir," he said politely, "we are short one person in the mornings. Temporary position, dishwashing and supply organizing. It is not glamorous, but it is honest work." Daniel looked stunned. "You are offering me a job?" "For now," Mr. Thompson said. "Let us see where it leads." His posture straightened like a soldier receiving orders. "Yes, sir." The next morning, Daniel arrived before sunrise. He worked quietly, efficiently, respectfully. He never complained. Within 2 weeks, customers began to notice him. He greeted them warmly, helped elderly guests carry trays, fixed a broken shelf without being asked. One afternoon, a young woman entered the cafe holding the hand of a small boy. She looked exhausted. She ordered 1 hot chocolate and asked for an extra cup. "For sharing," she explained. Sarah recognized that look, the look of someone calculating every dollar. Daniel noticed too. He walked to the register and whispered something to Mr. Thompson. Then he paid for a second hot chocolate and a sandwich. When Sarah delivered the tray, the young mother looked confused. "I only ordered 1. "It has already been paid for," Sarah said gently. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "By who?" Sarah looked toward Daniel, who was pretending to clean a table. "A friend," she replied. That evening, as they closed the cafe, Sarah approached Daniel. "You did not have to do that," she said. Daniel smiled. "Yes, I did." He paused, then added quietly, $3 can change a direction. I'm just passing it forward." Months passed. Daniel's temporary position became permanent. He saved money. He moved into a small apartment. His confidence slowly returned. One rainy evening, almost exactly 1 year after he first walked into Maple Street Coffee, Daniel placed an envelope on the counter. "What is this?" Sarah asked. "For every Friday this year," he said. 1 free drink for anyone who feels like giving up." Sarah opened the envelope. Inside was enough money to cover 52 drinks. "You do not have to do this," she whispered. "Yes, I do." The bell above the door rang again. A young man entered. His clothes were neat but worn. He looked nervous. He stepped to the counter. "1 black coffee," he said quietly. "Small size." Sarah and Daniel exchanged a glance. Sarah smiled warmly. "Your coffee has already been paid for." The young man blinked in confusion. "By who?" Daniel stepped forward this time. "By someone who once had only $3, he said. The young man held the cup tightly, as if afraid it might disappear. "Why?" he asked. Daniel answered calmly, "Because sometimes all a person needs is 1 small reason to stay." Outside, the rain continued to fall over the city. But inside Maple Street Coffee, something stronger than the storm existed. Kindness. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady. And somewhere in New York, a man who almost left found a reason to remain. All because of 1 cup of coffee. And $3 that came back multiplied.